You are now listening to the National Show with Gangsterville and McGee. The National Show, the National Show, the National Show, no show, no show. The National Show, the National Show, the National Show, no show, no show. All right, No Nation. This is the National Show with Gangsterville and McGee. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like, share, and comment on all of our platforms. YouTube, follow us on Instagram, X, and all of our links can be found on our Linktree page, which is National Show, NATIONOLESHOW. All right, y'all. We back at it. Second round playoff preview. Second round Knowles playoff preview.
Oh, sad.
But we still here nonetheless. We still got stuff to talk about. College football season is still alive.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness there's still something to watch, man. I like it.
Yeah, man.
I'm okay with this extending of the playoffs, kind of extending college football a little bit, but I recognize that it's going to be a real problem with people that are trying to transfer and stuff like that. Like I recognize that the schedule is problematic because the spring semester starts, right? I get that, but as far as just a consumer of the sport, I love it.
Love it.
Man, 0-4 is not good. It's not good. It's not good. We have not had a week like that all season.
Ever. I was like,
ever.
Yeah, all right.
And maybe we deserved it. Maybe there was a little bit of overconfidence that's as a result of being successful. I don't know. Maybe we had to get knocked down a peg.
Yeah, I think it was that. Plus, maybe a little bit riding on the ACC hard, riding on the Cinderella stories hard with SMU.
And
the sad part, we fucking sat right there and called out what Clemson does every week. They play in the competition, they play up, they play down, they're inconsistent as hell. We were like, yeah, they'll play with Texas. And Texas is like, nah. So I don't know, man. I just know it's gonna sharpen our skills, help us tune in a lot more.
Hell yeah.
We have to a lot better, man.
We have to think about the experience and learn from the experience, right? So I think we probably did not account for the weather appropriately.
At all.
Right? We didn't adjust to the playoff scenario, right? We didn't account for the weather. We definitely didn't account for the home field advantage enough. Right? Like all of a sudden you have a bowl game, essentially you have a playoff game at home. Like that's we should have valued that much more. We could have done better. We could have done better if we thought it through a little more. And so now we know we re-examine our process and we think things further. The fact is, these 4 games are sort of back to normal. They're warm. Yeah. They're back in the South. Neutral fields. They're how bowl games are supposed to be played.
Right.
That's where we're at. We should go through all 4 though. We should go through.
Yeah.
I mean, they played them. We should talk about. Indiana played Notre Dame. Indiana was 7.5 point underdogs. They were the Cinderella story, just like you said. We were caught up in the hype. Hype. And I think
Notre Dame was not who we thought they were.
Right?
They showed up ready to play.
We thought about that Northern Illinois loss. We a little too much, We were scared by that. We're like, oh, these guys are susceptible to the underdog or catching them. But really, that was early in the season. They were still kind of figuring things out. And they were up for the moment. They were up for the moment. That cold weather didn't bother them. They were pumped to be at home. Like they were up for the game.
Yep.
Indiana hadn't played anything like that in the history of Indiana football. So Notre Dame has played big games before. That's all.
Right. Indiana had a good season that we pointed out, but we didn't point out the fact that they ain't play nobody. So that kind of came up. I still think they deserve to be there, but hey, when they got there, hey, it is what it is.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. They deserve to be in the game, and they just weren't ready for the moment. And that's not, they've never been there. Nobody's ever been there. Very few teams have played the amount of big games that the Notre Dame football team, has, and historically and in the recent years. There's very few teams that can talk like that. There's Georgia. There's teams that are involved with these playoffs, but it's not Indiana.
Right.
And all the same notes can be said for SMU. SMU was 8.5 point underdogs playing at Penn State. The moment was enormous. Period.
And that weather, man. That weather. I ain't even think about that aspect of it, man. But
we definitely didn't consider that as much as we should have.
Yeah. I think that weather definitely had a toll with that game.
Yeah. Now, we can't be saying really 3 out of the 4 games, it was freezing cold and a lot of cats from the South weren't really ready for it, right? But not really the case in that Clemson, Texas game. Right. Can't use that as an excuse. We were just off, Clemson was 12.5 point underdogs to Texas. And Texas, it's not like they didn't win by 30 or anything, but they won by 14. It was an easy game for Texas. There was never really a doubt. There were a couple points where I was like, is Clemson about to put something together? But for the most part, there was never really a moment that I doubted Texas winning that game.
Yeah, true.
And exact same notes here, bro, on Ohio State. Ohio State were 7-point favorites. Tennessee, it could have been bigger spread. That spread, obviously 42-17. It was just from the coin flip, it was clear that Ohio State was winning the game.
Right.
I knew, I was up on Tennessee. I thought Tennessee was it, and even at 0-3, I was like, oh yeah, we're good. Tennessee's going to save our day. And then I saw them go out for the coin flip, and I was like, oh wow, Ohio State looks really ready to play. And they played the best game they've played all season, no doubt. They legitimately looked like the Ohio State we expect them to be year in, year out. And that was really a drubbing with a B of Tennessee. Man, Tennessee they weren't ready for that game.
Yeah, they had to step out and redeem themselves from that loss to Michigan. So I felt like they really, really catapulted off of that, man, and showed the world hey, Michigan might not do this, but don't get to thinking stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. We still showing up to work, and we still gonna work on you. Exactly. So Ohio State got mad respect for me that weekend.
Yeah, and they now going into this new week where the 4 teams that had buys are back in the mix, and we have a new, basically a new 8 to talk about. Ohio State may be the best of the teams remaining. I'm a recency bias, maybe it's because I just saw that dominance, but I was really impressed, man. I was really impressed. I think that Michigan game was more of a blip than anything,
Yeah. I agree. Rivalry week, is what I'll scrape it up to. But as good as they look, man, I don't know, man. Texas still look darn good, and Oregon, don't forget about them, bro. This weekend is gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah. What's crazy is the path, man, because the fact that Penn State and Texas both, they kind of have a much different competition this weekend than the other 2 teams. The fact that the 1-2 teams end up playing Ohio State and Notre Dame is crazy, but having that bye, I guess,
right. That's wow.
I would think that they're next year, maybe they reseed in the second round of this, where it's not so much a bracket as much as the top 4 spots wait for the end of those games, and then they reseed 1 through 12 for the matchups. You know,
right?
I would think because this is crazy.
Yeah, you know, gives you no advantage of being 1 or 2 or nothing like that. If you got to sit back and play the best teams coming in,
not for nothing, but Penn State and playing Boise State, and then Texas playing Arizona State are much different matchups than Ohio State having to play Oregon or Notre Dame having to play Georgia. I'm sorry, the other way around. Georgia having to play Notre Dame and Oregon having to play Ohio State. Those could be, if you would have told me before the season or at any point during the season that those were championship game matchups, I'd have bought it, you know?
Right.
And they got to do this in the second round. So that's wild. It's wild.
Right.
But that's also,
I see why though. It's because they won their championships and they was ranked high. Okay, it makes sense.
Right. They won their conferences.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you know, Boise State and Arizona State, like those conferences.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get it.
I get
it. The bye week shouldn't be attached to the conference championship. Yes, getting into the 12 should be attached to the bye, but the top 4 should get the byes. You know, getting in the 12 should be attached to winning the conference. Like if you win your conference, you're automatically in. But that shouldn't automatically get you a bye week, I don't think.
Because this is crazy. It looks kind of ugly though if you didn't win your conference and then you get a bye week though. Like
but that happens for maybe 2 conferences.
But just say like for instance that would have happened, Texas would have lost to Georgia for the SEC conference or whatever, and still get in over Georgia.
And you're going to tell me they don't deserve a bye like they over Boise State or Arizona State.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not their fault. I mean, you know, what it is. Their conference is fucking better, you know. Period. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not in charge of fixing it, but if I did, I'd be very good.
As long as you don't hop on here like Kirk Herbstreit and say wins don't matter.
Oh no, wins matter, man. Wins matter. But who you beat and who you lose to, definitely, that has to be factored in.
Totally.
All right, well let's get started on these games.
Let's get it started.
Now these games aren't until New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, so Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But New Year's Eve was part of that conversation, and neither of us are like we're not. You know, we gotta start preparing for the celebration early. You know, and we can't. You know, we got other things to do. Or, you know, so we're gonna preview them few days out. So some of these numbers might change. I say that to say some of these spreads are going to change over the next 4 days or 5 days as action comes in and stuff like that. But, you know, keep that in mind when we're sharing our sides and our thoughts on these, you know? So let's go, man. Penn State, they're presently ranked number 4 in the country. Mm-hmm. They're playing number 9, Boise State. I think we can, all these rankings, you know, don't really matter anymore. There's 8 teams left, you know, so nobody should be ranked number 9, but whatever. Penn State is 10.5 point favorite over Boise State. This game.
Yeah, where's it gonna be at?
This game,
it kind of shouldn't matter, boys. That's Idaho and so it really shouldn't matter. I'm going Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, I think Penn State's the better team. I like that they have this matchup. Like, you know, I was talking shit about, you know, this isn't fair and all that stuff, but then also my other hand is holding a ticket on Penn State at 25-1 to be national championship winner. So if they can somehow get into it, I would be a very, very happy man, you know? Yeah, even if they just make it, I can hedge and I guarantee some winnings, you know? So it's an interesting one. This one is a standalone. This one's on New Year's Eve, 7:30 at night on the East Coast, as people are getting ready for the Fiesta, and I use that word because it's the Fiesta Bowl, right? It's going to be I just don't know what to expect out of Boise State. I watched a few games this year. I definitely watched a lot more of highlights the last few days than I had seen all season, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been dialed in on Boise State. Right?
Well, I'll cut it short for you. Boise State is another Indiana. So they've had a very good season. They played tough, but they haven't played no damn body.
So
shout out to Ashton Gentry, the running back who's breaking records on the ground and everything or whatever. Yeah. But versus Reggie Bush, who did it in the Pac-10 back in the days,
bigger,
versus
and
Ricky Williams and all of these cats or whatever. Like, he's doing it versus nobody's or whatever. Penn State's going to be prepared. They're going to show up. They have the athletes. They have the big game experience.
Yeah.
They're going to win by 2 touchdowns or more.
This is the best defense that he has, the running back has played against this season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The offensive line isn't going to be nearly as helpful, unfortunately, as they have been in a lot of these games. Like, that's really what jumped off the screen. Like, yeah, they got a great running back, but in a lot of those situations, they had the better offensive line of the two, the better line of compared to the defensive line. That they were going up against. That's not going to be the case in this. They don't have anything
out depth all of that,
and it's not just the D line; it's also the linebackers and the secondary. Right? It's all 3 levels, and that's going to be a real problem. The running back's not going to be able to get off. He's just not going to be able to get off. He's going to be stifled. It's going to be under 5 yards, under 4 yards a carry, probably. And it's not going to be enough. This team relies too much on it. So it's just
that was my next point. Yep. They haven't shown any, offense outside of the running game. So it's kind of a situation where you shut the running game down. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
They're not going to come out and spread or 3 wide or trips or anything. So
yeah.
So we going Penn State with that.
Yeah. So we let's get right back onto the whole agreeing thing. Let's go. I think that just because of what happened last week, I'm not like, I don't feel like we're not giving this enough credit. I think we're fully considering everything here.
Everything.
I just don't think that they are the I think similar to what we saw last week, they're not gonna be ready for the moment because the moment's huge.
Yep.
Now Boise State has played more bowl games, than SMU lately, or even Indiana for that matter. Even probably more than the two of them combined, because Boise State has been flirting with that top tier for years. They've been a big mid-major and all that stuff. But But
you gotta
big game.
Right. I put it back into, you remember the old school Baylor when Baylor was blowing everybody out or whatever?
Our brows.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. That would be rots in fucking hell.
Yeah, but if they were winning games that way versus that schedule, then I'd be like, okay, Boise State will have a chance. But if you're playing that schedule and you're winning by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 3 points here, 7 points there,
Yeah.
Penn State, baby.
Agreed fully. Yep. All right, let's keep it rolling. Let's get to the next game.
Right.
Number 3, Texas. It's playing number 12, Arizona State. It is a 13.5 point spread. This is the early kickoff on New Year's Day. It's probably still a little hungover for some of us at 1 p.m. And it is the Peach Bowl. I just realized I don't have the lights on. Hold
on. So yeah, man, this is the Peach Bowl. Bro, with this one right here, now, even though I reside in the state of Arizona, I love it here and I love the people here. I love y'all to death and everything, whatever. But Texas about to rip a new one. This is the early game and it's gonna be over with early. I'm seeing 21 points or more spread with Texas.
Yeah.
They're the more experienced team. Not to mention they got more explosive players. They got 2 dynamic quarterbacks back there that they can put in just defensively. Game planning for 2 quarterbacks of such dynamically different will put you put your splits in your head or whatever. But and then the number one thing of all is that offensive and defensive line they got, man. I can't see Arizona sticking with them physically at all. And if you want to think of how physical they were, look at them going toe-to-toe with Georgia in the SEC championship. Texas is built for tough. So, yeah, going with Texas on that one.
Yeah, Texas was ready for the SEC when they joined it this year. And it's been proven all season long. This is a big game. This is a really big game. The only question I can think of that gives me any hesitation is whether or not playing last week versus having a bye is a benefit or a negative, depending on it. Now that's right. Like we didn't even talk about it with Penn State, but we probably should have. And that's the only thing I can think of. But having two quarterbacks helps, having depth at every position group helps, and being a Texas, you have that, So I don't think. I just don't think it's going to be a factor. I just don't think. If anything, I think it benefits Texas because there might be a measure of rust on Arizona State side.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think having that week off probably hurts more than it helps. Especially with kids, like professionals, NFL, I can understand you come in weekend and not do your job, but kids, they go off of that momentum, like Bobby Bowden used to say back in the days. They got that, last game juice going. We just won, rah.
Momentum is bigger in the college game.
Yes, and the longer you get away from that game play, the harder it is to. I mean, look at the season in the beginning versus in the end or whatever, and that's even with all of those big games played in the beginning. Us playing LSU game one for the last couple of years, even though we won those games, those are always sloppy ass games, man.
That's like sort of how we would steal them a few of those years, which would lead to an overinflated self or sense of confidence in the team by the fan base.
Yep.
I guess I shouldn't speak for all of us. I'll just speak for me. All right. Like, it made me think we were a little better than we were, maybe.
Definitely. Yeah. Totally agree, man.
I think we might. Dude, I don't know if we can call them kids anymore, bro. These guys are just professionals in college. There's a lot of money on the line, and it's going in there.
They may be getting paid, and I will put the professional on them with the NIL and everything. But at the end of the day, they biologically are still kids, young gentlemen. How they think, how they act, all of that's gonna go with how they prepare themselves and go about on the field and stuff or whatever.
Absolutely.
You give a 8, 19, 20, 21-year-old an extra week off throughout the season. It's hard enough to keep some of them in line during the season.
I'm about to be 46. Give me a week off, bro. Give me a week off. Watch how I come back. I'll be real ready to go. Yeah, ready to play the biggest game of my life? Probably not.
One time, you remember Xavier Lee was in Chubby's one time when he was suspended. Like, bro, come on, man.
Xavier Lee. That was an interesting experience. All right. Let's move on to the Rose Bowl. Let's go out west. Let's go out to California. Let's go to Pasadena. Lovely. Rose Bowl. Number 6, Ohio State versus number 1, Oregon. We get the rematch that we talked about, how we might get, when they played. We probably were hoping it would happen in the championship game. But like I said, there's a couple games. There's 2 games here this weekend that could have been national championship matchups that we'd have been having. All right. Spread is Oregon. Number 1, Oregon, getting points. Plus 2.5. Is that like a overreaction on the side of the public to last week, like I did when I right away tried to say maybe they're the best team left? Or is Ohio State, pardon me, that's an easy one to do because they both start with O. Is Ohio State the better team here on a neutral field?
I would only say from what we discussed, and that's being that Ohio State is hot, Oregon is a week off or whatever. And I think out of all the games, that's gonna play more into this game than any of them or whatever, just because they've had such an intense game in the season coming in. It's gonna be just intense. So in order to match that intensity, you have to have some juice from the week before of that momentum to build up. Versus Oregon is going from a cold duck to a fried turkey. So it's
yeah, it's it just echoes back to the previous conversation where if it hurts Arizona State, I understand Oregon's much better athletes, better players, etc., but they're the same age window. If it's going to hurt Arizona State, we should apply the same logic here to Oregon. Also, the flip side, if we're benefiting Texas from staying hot and staying in the groove off of last week, we should give the same benefit of the doubt to Ohio State, that they're going to keep rolling and show up ready to play. They're not going to take this game lightly. Not that Oregon will. No, Oregon.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's definitely a close game.
It's still a close game. It's a toss up. It can
definitely
go
a close
game.
game.
Oregon has enough athletes to overstep that boundary of being cold or whatever. But we'll see. If I was a betting man, I'm putting my money on Ohio State just off of that momentum they got riding into it.
I think this is an easy one to not bet on, or maybe look at the over under, or look at some in-game wagers or some props or something. But I don't see me firing at the spread, or it's really close. It's really close. It could be a field goal game. I sort of when there's these games, I lean towards the team getting the points, right? Because it could be a close. Ohio State could win this game by 1 point. Right? It could be that close of a game. And what's the difference, in the grand scheme of things, 1, 2, 3, it's going to be that close of a game. So maybe I take Oregon with the points. But I don't really want to bet on this spread. I want to bet on the others.
Yeah, I think it's a mind fuck that they're doing with the spread. They know Oregon is the favorite. So if they give it to Ohio State or whatever, then there's give the points to them or whatever, then maybe more people will bet. So
I think it's also that there's probably Ohio State is a much more public play, and so there's a lot of money coming in on Ohio State. There's a lot of money riding on Ohio State to make the championship or to win the championship, and excuse me, for liability purposes, all the books probably really need some money coming in on Oregon. And so it wouldn't even surprise me if by the time, we got 5 days, this could be a 3.
Yeah.
And if you give me 3 points, I'm definitely taking Oregon. Right. And so let's see where the books are, where the ledgers are, where the balance is on day of, and, maybe see if it goes up again. In fact, everybody should probably hold off if you like Oregon. Flip side is, if you like Ohio State, you should probably grab that 2.5 because you don't want it to go to 3, and it's not going to go down to 2. There's no way it's going to go down to 2. So just some thoughts. Let's talk about the last one. Number 5, Notre Dame they're the underdog. They're getting 2 points to play.
Wow, they're the underdog. Wow.
Number 2. Georgia. Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking? Because I'm thinking something. What do you think?
Georgia quarterback is out.
Boom.
So now don't get me twisted. The freshman played a good game versus Texas in the SEC championship game, but at the end of the day, it's a backup quarterback and a freshman. So Notre Dame should be able to take advantage of that if they're able to get their offense rolling, get some points on the board, because Georgia can score, but they can't score. Heck, even with Brock Bowers, their offense wasn't efficient, and the only reason they was able to score with the kid is because he was running. And now Notre Dame has tape of that from the SEC championship game. So I don't know. If I was a bet man, I'd go with Notre Dame, but I will never bet on Notre Dame because they never turn out to be who you think they are when they play, man. Is this going to be the Notre Dame from last week, or is this Manti Te'o's Notre Dame?
Right? Right?
Right.
Oh, man. Florida State went to the Sugar Bowl in 2003, I think. It's in New Orleans. I might have been there that year. I don't know. I went one year. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Florida State wasn't there. Maybe I'm confusing two different trips. Some Florida State bowl game and everything. But New Orleans is a great town, man. Great town. Perfect place for the Georgia Bulldogs fans to hang out. Right? Like if I was picking the right team that, other than LSU to show up with their fan base to New Orleans, that's a great pick, right? Like they're gonna enjoy themselves tremendously. I get it. The rest of that roster is quite good, right? I get it. Like that defense is good. They have weapons on offense. It's the offensive line. It's the best. It might not be the best. One of the two best offensive lines in the country, maybe.
Yeah.
So they can rely on.
Though, man, if Georgia pulls it through, it'll be because of their defensive line.
Well, I'm saying to make up for the fact that their starting quarterback isn't playing, I think they're going to run the ball a lot. And I think they have the offensive line to do that. I think Notre Dame's defensive line is smart. I think their linebackers are smart. I think they give up a little bit in size, and that might be enough. I think Georgia could really run the ball all over them. I'm kind of come game time, I'm gonna let the over under go up because it's gonna go up. People are gonna bet it's gonna go up. But come game time, I may be also on the under, and I may be looking for some certain prop bets that involve rushing yards and stuff like that. I think that this could be a fast game. I think it could be a lot of a very low scoring game. But I think Georgia's gonna kind of take control early and keep their foot in the neck.
Your money is never safe with Notre Dame, so
yeah, that's a great point.
Just off of their luck in history, I would go with Georgia. So yeah, man. You brought up good points. The defensive line, that pass rush that they got, the depth that they got on defensive line, that running game that they got or whatever. Trevor Etienne, that running back that they got from Florida. Yeah, he is balling beyond what they expected finally when they need him the most. So yeah. I don't see Notre Dame showing up and overpowering Georgia on the line, and that's just what it boils down to.
Yeah, I agree fully. Going to be a good couple games, though. I'm excited to watch all four. You and I agreeing on three of them is pretty good, and neither of us really wanting to bet on that fourth one that we disagree on is probably that safe. Best bet sometimes is the one you don't place.
Right. Definitely, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. So we'll probably not do a show next Friday, but maybe we'll slip one in early the following week before the semifinals, and then we could rock again the following Friday. So we'll sort of get like a half a week off, get a week off, and the following Friday we'll come back in our regular time slot to do the national championship, and then that's it. That's the season, baby.
Yep. That's it.
2 more shows. We got a lot of stuff planned for the off season. We're gonna start maybe inviting in some guests, introducing some merch, get our own audio feeds. We got all kinds of shit going on. I'm sure you got. And plus things going on away from the show that are interesting too. So it's going to be an exciting off season. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't want it to come too soon. I want to enjoy these last few weeks.
Yeah. Bunch of good football left to go, man. Bunch of good football.
That's right. All right, let's wrap this up. The national show is a co-production between Broham and B-Abbott. And it is available as a video product on YouTube at National, NATIONOLE, where you can watch us live or you can pop in afterwards and enjoy it as video. Please hit that little subscribe button, hit that little alert button. Make sure you're dialed in whenever we're going live. And especially in the off season when it's going to be way, randomly, a little over here, a little over there. Who knows what's going to happen, And the show can also be enjoyed as an audio product. It is available via the Bet Your Ash podcasting network at betyourash.com or on the Bet Your Ash feeds on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on either of those platforms, please like and rate and review and, share with your friends and follow or subscribe. And also do all those same things for Gangsterville, because he has music available on Spotify and it is fantastic. It's on a lot of platforms. You should just go to Linktree/Gangsterville, GAINSTAVILLE. And there you will find links to all of it. In fact, you should listen to his latest album, Desperado Code, on all the platforms. Like it on all the different platforms, because that's the best way to support your friends that make music. Also, we have a Linktree for the National show. It is National, NATIONOLE show, SHOW. So Linktree/National show. And I think that's everything.
That's all, Doc.
All right, bro. Well, they're not playing this weekend. They're playing some basketball over the next few weeks, but still, no matter what, regardless, even when it's been a really bad season, it is always go Noles.
Go Noles, baby.
And you have just finished listening to the National